think it's 6:01. On your computer.
Yeah, 6:01. We ready to go? Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. We'll call the meeting for this evening to order. And as usual, first item to do is to adopt the agenda. A recommendation that the agenda for the January 26th, 2026 meeting of regular meeting of council be accepted and passed. Moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Rankin. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Did we lose Sherry again? Okay, so she hasn't made it yet. Okay. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest on anything on tonight's agenda? Councillor McCabe?
I have one, and it's in regards to Sacred Heart Church in Kenilworth and the application for a grant for the renovations that they've done.
I have none to declare. Councillor Rankin?
I have none.
Okay, Councillor Hearn?
No.
All right, so next we'll do the closed meeting session, and we have a recommendation to go into closed that is as follows: that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North go into a meeting at 6:03 p.m. that is closed to the public under subsection 239, number 2 of the Municipal Act 2001, specifically for item A, the security of the property of the municipality or local board. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Rankin and Councillor Hearn, thank you. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We're in closed. Councillor Rankin, Councillor McCabe, thank you. All those in favor? That's carried. Thanks. We also have a recommendation coming out of closed that Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive for information the IT report from Peter Oak, owner, Backspace Consulted. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor McCabe, Councillor Hearn, thank you. All those in favor? That's carried. We probably should receive the verbal report too. Hey, Karen?
Yes, I missed that. Thank you.
And we also have a recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive for information the report from the CAO regarding the Mount Forest Community Center. I can move her and seconder for that. Councillor Rankin, Councillor McCabe, thank you. All those in favor? That's carried. And then the closed minutes, we have a recommendation that the minutes of the closed meeting of council held on January 12th, 2026 be adopted. Moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Hearn. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So it's 6:54. We'll take a brief recess and reconvene again at 7 o'clock.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we're ready to reconvene our council meeting and get started again. There's a number of people in the room that are here for a public meeting that's coming up. We do have a couple of things to get through before, so hang in there and we'll get there. And not too long. First thing, of course, we rise for Canada, beginning of our meetings. Please join us. Thank you. We now move to our county council update. Welcome Campbell Cork to give us a little update on what's going on at county council. And we'll try not to grill you as hard this time, Campbell, as the last time.
Well, thank you everyone for allowing me a few minutes to bring you a brief report from county council. This will be an all-inclusive report. And actually, what I thought I would do is bring you an update on what's happening with the 4 bridges being built east of Arthur on County Road 109. As you know, that's a project that got started in 25. And the good news regarding this project is that so far it's on time and on budget, which is something that's very pleasant to report in these times of escalating costs. And just for clarity, as I'm speaking, these bridges seem to have been assigned numbers over the last construction period, with numbered 1 to 4. With number 1 located closest to Arthur going out, or the furthest away going east. So it started, they got last year with bridge 2 and 4.
Your microphone's not on.
Sorry?
Mic's not on.
Red lights on.
Red
That's
stop,
a-
green's go.
Green is go. I don't have to start from the beginning. Do I, Steve, please? It was so exciting. I saw you all sitting on the edge of your chairs.
Oh, you had your hand up. Is that because you couldn't hear what was happening? Okay. We'll just test, make sure that Campbell, you can give us a nod if you can hear him, please.
Yes, here I go. So we're talking about the 4 bridges east of Arthur. And I have to say, we've been told that the construction went very well in 25, and in fact, things may at this point be a little ahead of schedule. And I think it's fair to credit all those involved, including the county, the consultant, and the contractor, for avoiding all those many millions of, maybe not millions, hundreds of problems that can just jump up out of nowhere and slow projects down. So far, everything has gone very smoothly. And the idea of getting number 4, the furthest one out of the way right off the bat, allows the remaining 3 bridges, which are a little more tightly packed and manageable, to go together. And doing 4 bridges is in such a close period of time, and geographically so close, is very unusual. There's all the managing of traffic and the detours. You can imagine, just about anything you can imagine can go wrong. And it can be a tough job with 1 bridge. 4, I hear, can be a nightmare. And the reason for doing all 4 was all 4 were in really terrible shape. And to contain the traffic inconvenience in a short period of time, do them in 1 fell swoop. So number 4 was substantially completed by the end of last year, although it was late in the year and oncoming winter prevented waterproofing being done to the deck of the bridge. But in order to have that bridge available as a full bridge over the 6 months of winter and until they get back to it, it was decided to put a layer of asphalt on the deck without the waterproofing, be able to use the bridge without detours or without single lanes until we get the opportunity, probably this year, but possibly even next year. It's okay to do the waterproofing on the deck. And that waterproofing will involve peeling back that layer of asphalt that was put down, which may appear to the traveling public as though our brand new bridge is getting torn apart 6 months into its young life, which is not the case. It is, in fact, a scheduled procedure. The second bridge is about, the first section of it is complete. A lot of the preparatory work, everything's in place to get going on it early this year. The number one bridge closest to Arthur, sort of in the background while these 2 and 4 were being done. A lot of the background kind of work of natural gas and hydro relocations were going on so that they're ready to go. And the new bridge number 1 is expected to be completed in 27 or possibly 28. And finally, bridge number 3, that is sort of the last one. It'll be probably 28. However, these dates are the scheduled timelines for completion. And in fact, as I said, that 25 construction season went so well that they are now thinking that there's some possibility they'll all be done in 27 and all the detours and whatnot will be gone, which will make everybody happy. So that's sort of the bridges. And just since we're on roads and the very expensive task of building bridges, I just wanted to tell you that in 26, the tax levy for roads alone is up by $3.4 million or 8.4%. And part of that is due to the fact that 26 is the last of 4 years of phasing in that gigantic construction increase that happened between 21 and 24. And during those years, we're told that this kind of project was seeing a 40% increase. And so the county cushioned that tax increase by spreading it out to taxpayers over the 4 years. And that really has helped with the tax increase. So just to conclude on taxes, we are looking at a 3.6% budget, which will be voted on this Thursday at County Council. And looking further out into the 10-year plan, they're projecting a 4.1% increase in 27, and that will be followed by 2.6 to 3.9 in the final years of 28 to 35. So I think maybe that's enough on roads and bridges for tonight. Thank you very much for your attention. And if there's any questions on bridges, Steve.
That'd be great, thank you.
Any questions for Campbell? Councilman Hurd?
Does it need to be on roads and bridges?
I'm sure he would field other questions, but he did come
Okay.
prepared for those.
How do you feel the conversion to producer responsibility is going, Campbell?
Say that again. Sorry, Lisa.
You can answer, Mayor Lennox.
The question is about producer responsibility with recyclables. So for a comment on how we think that's going.
Well, I mean, the recyclables, it really is a tricky one, partly because we've transitioned to the producers picking up household, not commercial, industrial, household. And that's all that I gather they're going to be responsible for. And so the commercial part in our downtown corners of Wellington North, Wellington North has taken responsibility. So it really is kind of a split new system. We continue to look after household garbage, we being Wellington North and Wellington County, look after household and the organics. So, so there have been a few glitches. I have to say a lot of it is coming from weather related, but you know, anytime a new system comes on, it has its problems. But call Waste Management if you have a household problem with recyclables, because they're the ones that are doing it on behalf of the producers. So they are the ones to call regarding household recyclables.
Counselor Hurd, did you have another question?
Yes, I realize that Campbell probably can't answer this, because the county is not responsible for the recycling aspect of it, but some of the issue that I have personally seen and Wellington North, we have a lot of agricultural property that has a house and has a barn and or other agricultural activities. And what they pick up is residential recycling, right? And we can't take our agricultural recycling um, to Riverstown really anymore. Like if you just want to take a little bit, unless you get the pass that you can get online. So if you try to sneak it in to your residential recycling bin, they're rejecting some agricultural stuff. So, I mean, my concern, again, you can't answer it, is where is it going? Is it going into, I hope it's not going, the stuff ends up on a side road, burn bin, bush somewhere. Like it is a little concerning to me, but I realize that you cannot answer that question, Campbell.
Well, I mean, I can say as far as you're concerned about it winding up on roadsides, it's pretty hard to do much about um, people. Some people would say something worse than people who are who will take garbage and throw it at roadsides. You know, it's hard to fix those people. Beyond that, it is a provincial decision what the producers are going to pick up. So, I mean, that really is getting a long way out of our hands. And so at this point, I suspect a lot of it will get burned, or a lot of it will wind up at the landfill site.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree, Campbell. It seems like a real step backwards when there are actually things that are recyclable, and because it says that it's an agricultural product and it came from my barn, whatever it is, that I can't put it in the blue bin and now I'm potentially going to burn it. It just seems like a whole step back. That's all.
Well, they definitely are rejecting the materials that aren't on their list, but the list is definitely expanded. It's quite amazing. Things like bread wrappers and fine film that wraps up things and you know, that kind of plastic that wasn't styrofoam. The list is there on the website of all the additional things. It's getting pretty hard to fill a yellow bag these days if you really are recycling with all the stuff that's there.
I would just add to Councilor Hurd, the county has been trying to address this with particularly commercial and institutional people, like, and trying to find solutions. So you mentioned the pass you can get by going online and requesting that. Please share that out there, that it's important for people to know that they have alternatives. Because the county has taken that on at the county's expense to make that available, because we don't want it ending up in landfill. Landfill is very costly to replace. I mean, we haven't had a new one in Ontario for I don't know how many years, over 20. And the supply of landfill across the province is getting very limited. So it's in everybody's best interest to keep it out of landfill if we can. So if businesses are able to adapt to that by using this program that the county's put together, we want them to do that if at all possible. Yeah, Councilor Hurd.
In fairness to Councilor Cork there, I have reached out to Doss with some and working with him for some better language or communication that will address some of the issue that I have just discussed. So I have been working with DOS on that, for better promotion of that.
Yeah, we certainly do need to get the word out to people in the community. You know, that small businesses tend to be the ones that are affected, or institutions, places like churches and curling clubs and those type of things don't have the service that they used to have either. Any other questions for Campbell? That's all right.
Thank you through you, Mayor Lennox. I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I think it's a little bit short-sighted of the province to not be picking or not having the producers pick up the blue boxes from businesses in town, because I think the businesses probably create more than the residents do.
Couldn't agree more.
Any questions? Comments? Okay, thanks, Campbell.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
didn't grill you quite as hard this time. Okay, we have another presentation. Andrew Coburn. I think I see him back in the back corner there. Welcome, Andrew. Give us the good news on insurance tonight, right?
Oh, good evening, Mayor Lennox, fellow councillors, staff, and members of the public. My name is Andrew Coburn, and I'm from Coburn Insurance Brokers. Tonight, I'll be going over the Township of Wellington North 2026, 2027 insurance and risk management proposal. Next, just going over the overall Canadian insurance marketplace as a whole, and then individually the municipality insurance for property, casualty, auto, the township's insurance program itself, along with the key changes year over year. Just click next there. And then next again. Overview of the Canadian insurance industry. The Canadian insurance industry, with regards to the commercial space, rates have remained stable. After the recent volatility we've experienced the last several years, there's been a strong emphasis on risk management and claims control. It's turned into a competitive marketplace in certain segments with no rate increases in several, but there still remains some pressure on certain segments and other lines of business within the industry, such as personal lines and, say, agriculture in certain circumstances. Next. Going into the municipal property space, municipal property insurance has remained stable in Canada, or in Ontario, I should say. Flat rate renewals are very common these days with no rate applied. Inflation or replacement cost is really the only increases in the driving exposure with regards to the bottom line increases for insurance premiums. Insurance carriers are being very diligent in having proper insurance to values on buildings and property in general in order to collect adequate premium. With regards to the commercial auto market, it's mixed but generally firming, particularly for fleets. It's a soft market right now that we're currently experiencing. Individually rated commercial auto and personal lines is not in a similar state. Fleets, though, however, seem to be relatively stable as long as their loss ratio remains constant. It's not an open market soft market, though, with regards to carriers buying up business. It is quite selective based on the risk profile of the insured itself with regards to loss history, fleet management with regards to fleet and maintenance of vehicles and other vehicle types and usage. So we're seeing a much more disciplined approach from carriers just due to the increased costs of some claim severity and repairs. So it's a very disciplined approach in this space. The casualty space also remains stable, consistent with the other two primary key coverages. Premiums are often exposure driven and or claims driven, not just a broad brush approach across the industry. The market focus remains on risk mitigation. Risk mitigation is key in a lot of casualty items. Certain instances such as slip and fall, road maintenance, signage, public facilities, and loss transfer to contractors. The claims tend to be infrequent but severe, reinforcing the potential for large losses. So securing large liability limits on the casualty side. Cyber insurance, just you can keep it there, Karen. That's okay. It's cyber though, however, as dissipated, it's no longer really a topic of conversation with regards to municipalities and the increases that we've seen in the last 5 years. It's been stable. We saw decreases 2 years ago, and it's been stable for the last couple of years and continues to do so. So that's a positive. With regards to the municipal insurance program this year, coverages remain constant, with the exception of property. We have a general liability primary at 15 million. Then we have umbrella excess at 10 and 25 respectively, for a total of 50 million. Property and machinery breakdown, auto, comprehensive crime, cyber, and annual low risk event policies. Intact public entities proposal for this 2026-2027 term, total, there's the breakdown, totaling $359,797. If you just want to go next there, Karen, onto the next screen. This is the 3-year summary that we've provided with each year, so we can see the breakdown. So can't quite see the bottom. I'm just thinking for others there, but I have my copy. That's okay. So the soft market is shown here in the rates. Year over year, there was 2024, 2025 was 9%. Previous 3 years prior to that, it was common to see 10, 15, 20 and or higher. So the 2% is favorable terms for the 2026, 2027 term. Just flipping over then to the key changes for this term. There's really only two. The only cost differences between two policies. If you can just click next there, Karen. Thank you. There should be great, thank you. The only premium difference on the file this year is the auto policy and the property policy, and here's just the reasons why, or the underlying reasons behind that is we have one additional unit this year. Auto saw a 5% difference year over year. This is due to one additional unit along with claims history here in the last year. Property buildings all inflated at 4%, so the new blanket value is 72 million, up from 69 million, for a difference of 2.6 million. There is no rate increase applied on the property side, it's just simply exposure driven for increased limits. And then equipment breakdown follows the property values that were increased. So the 3% on the certain buildings result in a difference. So between those two policies, that's the difference of the 6,000 year over year. All other lines essentially are flat with no material change in risk, for a total bottom line increase of 2% this year. So. Any questions?
Any questions from council? Councilor McCabe?
Thank you, through you, Mayor Lennox. Thanks for this, Andrew.
Yeah.
It seems like this is great to only have a 2% increase compared to the last number of years.
Yeah.
Is there a narrowing of companies that actually will insure municipalities now?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, it's pretty slim. Like there's probably only 3 programs out there that actually target municipalities. Like it's the appetite's still quite narrow. Like when you take a look at it from on a per policy basis, the extensions, they are very specific, very, very disciplined underwriting on these programs, and the covers that we can receive through these programs are vast versus a carrier kind of entering this space and without any volume behind it. So there's just a few key players behind this. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions for Andrew? Andrew, we do have a recommendation coming out of this. Of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North accept the proposed insurance coverage for the Township of Wellington North for the insurance renewal period beginning January 31st, 2026, as applicable to the policies. Like a mover and a seconder for that, please. Councilor Burke and Councilor McCabe. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And for those of you waiting for the public meeting, we're gonna move to that now. So first we'll recess our council meeting. Recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North recess the January 26th, 2026 meeting at 7:27 p.m. for the purpose of holding meetings under the Planning Act. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councilor Rankin and Councilor Hearn, thank you. All those in favor? That's carried. Agenda, I'll call the public meeting to order. Ask if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest on anything on the public meeting agenda. Councilor McCabe?
I have none.
I have none. Councilor Rankin?
I have none.
Thank you. Councilor Hearn? And Councilor Burke?
I have none.
All right, thank you. So the application is zoning bylaw amendment 11/25. Location of the subject land, the land subject to proposed zoning bylaw amendment and official plan amendment. Or legally, so just make sure I understand clearly, Curtis, I'm looking at you. This is the public meeting, statutory public meeting for both the official plan amendment and the zoning bylaw amendment. Okay, Darren?
Yep, that's right. I just got a note that your mic's not working.
Not working properly? We'll go to 2 then. Okay, so the official plan amendment, we are not the decision-making authority here. That's the rest of the county. But we're holding the public meeting on behalf of them because we need both a zoning bylaw amendment and an official plan amendment. Okay, so with that being said, the land subject to proposed zoning bylaw amendment and official plan amendment are legally described as Part Lot 36, Concession 1, former Township of West Garifraxa, and municipally described as 8051 Wellington County Road 109, Township of Wellington North. Property is approximately 10.3 hectares in size. And also Part Lot 35, Concession 1, former Township of West Garifraxa, and municipally described as 7556 First Line, Township of Wellington North, proposed zoning bylaw amendment only for that property. And that property is approximately 17.7 hectares in size. Purpose and effect of the zoning bylaw amendment is to rezone a portion of the lands at 8051 Wellington County Road 109 from agricultural site specific to industrial M1, permit a service and repair establishment for agricultural equipment and trucks. Additional relief may be considered at this meeting. An official plan amendment was also submitted in support of the application, which proposes to redesignate a portion of 8051 Wellington County Road 109. That's Lot 36, Concession 1, former Township of West Garifraxa, from prime agricultural area to rural employment area. Permit a service and repair establishment for agricultural equipment and trucks. And redesignate a portion of 7556 First Line, or Lot 35, Concession 1, former Township of West Garifraxa, from rural employment area to prime agricultural area to offset the designation of rural employment area at 8051 Wellington County Road 109. How was notice given for this public meeting?
Notices were mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject property and to applicable agencies. Signage was posted on the property on December 23rd, 2025.
Curtis, are you doing? Oh, you're doing Jamie? Okay. My agenda says Curtis.
We switched up on you. Okay, well, good evening, Mayor Lennox and members of council. I'm happy to be here tonight to provide an overview of the applications for the purpose of this public meeting. So there are 2 properties subject to the applications that will be discussed tonight. They are 8051 Wellington County Road 109, which is currently designated as prime agricultural lands and core greenlands, and it is also zoned agricultural site specific, which is A1-1. And then the other property in question is 7556 First Line, with those land being designated as rural employment area and is being zoned and is currently zoned industrial M1. So the purpose of the official plan amendment is to redesignate a portion of the lands located at 8051 Wellington Road, County Road 109, from prime agricultural to rural employment area, and to redesignate a portion of the lands at 75561 First Line from rural employment area to prime agricultural area to offset the designation of rural employment area at 8051 Wellington Road 109. Further, the purpose of the zoning amendment is to rezone a portion of the subject lands at 8051 Wellington County Road 109 from agricultural site-specific to M1 to permit a service and repair establishment for agricultural equipment and trucks. So planning staff note that the OPA and the ZBA applications have been submitted to permit the use of repair and service establishment for agricultural equipment and trucks. So briefly, the proposed service and repair shop includes a shop that is 2,850 meters squared in size, with parking, outdoor storage, and display areas, as well as a tractor trailer turnaround area and parking area, as well as stormwater management pond and 2 different accesses, one from Wellington Road 109 and one from First Line. So the applicants have also submitted various documents in support. They have submitted a planning justification report, an agricultural impact assessment report, an agricultural impact assessment addendum, a traffic study, a noise impact study, an archaeological assessment study, and a conceptual plan. So following this meeting, planning staff will consider any comments that are received, and we will prepare a final recommendation report for the council's consideration. To further note, a recommendation from Township Council in regards to the official plan amendment is required prior to the County of Wellington making a decision on the amendment. Lastly, the applicants are here today to speak further on behalf of the application and can answer any questions you may have about the proposed development. Thank you.
Amy? We have correspondence in your agenda package from Wellington Source Water Protection and the Grand River Conservation Authority. Has there any further correspondence been received in respect to this application?
No, there has not been further correspondence received.
Okay. So the bylaw for this proposed zoning bylaw amendment will be considered at a future council meeting. Any persons wishing notice of the passing of the bylaw must submit a written request. And with that, I will open the floor for questions or comments from the applicant and or the public. Yeah. If you could come to the podium and identify yourself, please. Green means go.
Hi, my name is Chris Karofsky. I'm a land use planner, and I'm helping out the applicant, Dakota Rogers, with this application. Had a very good summary from the county planner regarding this application. I thought it might be helpful if we could put just a copy of the concept plan up on the screen. I think Brianna asked if we could do that. That'll just help explain things a little more. Yeah. The blue part is really we can zoom in on that a little bit. Okay, maybe that's good for right now. The green part is the lands that are going from rural employment back to agricultural land use designation. The blue part are the lands that are going from from agricultural to rural employment. So it's a bit of a land use swap. And then if you could zoom in a little bit on the blue part, that is a conceptual site plan that shows the building that was referenced about 2,800 square meters, 30,000 to 35,000 square feet. This is a concept plan. I mean, this application entails three different types of planning approvals: the official plan amendment, the zoning bylaw. Once all that's in place, there'll be a site plan approval required. So we'll be back working with Darren and the township and Curtis on the site plan approval as well. But maybe I'll just ask Dakota to sort of tell you about, he's got an existing operation in Center Wellington, and I mean, this site has a great appeal for him and would work very well for his purposes. It's been operating for a number of years, so successful that he needs a bigger spot. So,
yeah, that's right. Hi, I'm Dakota Rogers, owner of. Oh, sorry,
Mike, please.
Hi, I'm Dakota Rogers, owner of DTS. I am here to apply for a new facility. I've been getting a lot of pressure over the last number of years from the community in Wellington North. We service them now. It's just they're really pushing me to get up here so they don't have to drive 35 minutes. We're in between Fergus and Guelph off of Highway 6. We do the exact same work as what we're going to do up here. It's very ag related, farm community, a lot of trucks and tractors and stuff like that. The reason why I need this to change zoning wise is because for us to safety vehicles, we have to do it on M1 industrial land in order to get the certificate for the yellow sticker. That is the only reason. Other than that, and that's a huge part of our business, it's one of the main things we do to keep these things on the road. And it's a real struggle for farmers up this way and down our way as well, that, you know, they can't do this in their own facilities. They have their own mechanics, but they need this zoning in order to do that part of the job. So basically just relieve the farm community so they don't have to drive 35, 40 minutes away to do it. And I see, you know, a big opportunity up here in Wellington North, and I, you know, really want to invest. So, yeah.
So that's sort of the rationale behind the application. And I prepared the planning justification report that was submitted to the township. There's a traffic report done. There was an ag study done. There was a little noise study done. Ag impact assessment. I think Brianna Miller hopefully is online. She was going to attend, and if there's any questions related to that, Brianna can answer those. But from a planning perspective, we reviewed, as we're required to do, all of the provincial policy and a lot of guidance from OMAF document 851, uses permitted in agricultural areas. This obviously isn't a place where crops will be grown, but it's a place where machines that help grow crops can be serviced. All sorts of different machines that are related to agriculture can be serviced in this facility. And so in that respect, it is definitely agriculturally related. I think the current operation employs 12 to 15 people with a larger site. Presumably that employment may grow. Hopefully it will grow. And, you know, in that respect, it represents a good opportunity for economic development within the township, employment, good for the tax base, all of those things. So the site plan basically illustrates how the whole site is pretty much required. Because of the size of the machinery, it's sort of a space extensive type use. Big machines, big trucks will be coming in and out of the property. And this site in particular has great appeal because it's got access on 109, which provides good visibility, a good way for people to get there. And it's got a secondary access, which is a access easement that goes along the back of the property and connects onto the first line. And that easement is in place. I included a copy of that easement in the PJR that was submitted. So the intention would be for, heavy duty machinery, big trucks could use that first line entrance. And then more day-to-day type traffic would use the 109 entrance. So you wouldn't have big machines sort of trundling down County Road 109, slowing down traffic and creating an issue. They'd be coming in off the first line. Our traffic consultant advised that there were really no issues, that the number of trips generated could be easily accommodated by the existing roads. I mentioned the noise report. What they looked at was point source noise generated from the new shop service area. And one of the reasons they looked at that is because if we could maybe just put that concept plan back up on the screen for 1 sec, please. Great. So the yellow part up on 109, there's an existing house there. And, part of this, the intention here is to separate that from, the future DTS repair use and leave that house on that land as they are. I think Dakota mentioned that perhaps one of his employees may rent that. And
Yeah, they currently do.
oh, they currently
Yes.
do. So
Yeah.
they're already there. And the designation on that part of the site would remain as agricultural. But the noise study was done to confirm that the noise from the shop aren't going to create a nuisance for the people living in that house, and that won't be the case. Yeah, going through all the provincial policy, the county official plan, all the boxes were checked. I'll just, not to go through everything, but to pick a couple of the county policies. One talks about farmland protection, and while this site will be converted to more of a agricultural service site, the policy in the county official plan talks about these types of uses being permitted, policy 4.3. And if you're going to have a spot for these types of uses, best to have it where land is already a little bit fragmented. There's not big, huge tracts of homogeneous agricultural land. And certainly along this section of County Road 109 on the south side, it's pretty chopped up. And, Home Hardware's out there, Holt Engineering or Industrials are out there. And there's already a number of like type uses that are related to agricultural in some ways that exist out there. The Holt site is right to the right of the yellow, and Home Hardware is just to the right of that. So this use will be consistent with the land use pattern that's already really exists on the south side of 109. And on both, like on the west or east side of Highway 6 and the west side, it's same sort of land use pattern. Smaller sites chopped up, aside from that one bigger rural employment site, which is the not recycling, but
Walkers.
yeah, walkers. So having gone through all the policy, my report advises that it's a good application, brings employment, economic development, good use to facilitate servicing agricultural vehicles, consistent with the land use pattern that exists. And, we're hoping that this will move forward and the township will approve. Thank you. Sorry?
Up there on screen.
Can I stop sharing the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Thank you. I suspect we may call you back to answer any questions, but
Thanks.
Thank you.
for now. Is there anyone else here in the chamber who wishes to speak to this application? Okay, I see Katie, you have your hand up. Would you like to speak to this application?
I would, thank you. My name is Katie Normette. I'm the owner of River's Edge Goat Dairy. We're a farm on the north side of 109, just east of this property. And my question is, how are farmers, how are agricultural businesses meant to compete in land base wise when we have I believe we've kind of set a precedent here in this area, like where we are with ag lands being rezoned. Agricultural land in Wellington North is selling 25 to 30,000 an acre. Commercial property or industrial property in the same area should be 100,000 an acre or more. So if I'm going to buy, let's just say, a property east or west of my farm goes up for sale, how do I purchase that for my agricultural business, for my farm business at 25 to 30,000 valuation when we have speculative companies, people coming in and buying our agricultural lands for a cheap price so they can get them rezoned and they're sitting on a gold mine? It's just a question I have, but like, where does it stop? I guess we've got Copernicus just further down the road. So does this mean, if this one's approved, now do we have a precedent set where there's going to be infill right the way across? And then how does a farm business like mine compete? How do I expand my farm here when everything's being rezoned so easily?
Not sure who to direct that one to answer that question. But I would comment that the industrial designation in that area has been in place for quite a number of years. That's not a new development of industrial, and I think part of this application is a proposal of a land swap. So there is a slight reduction in what will be zoned agricultural, but the part of it that's currently zoned for industrial will flip back to agricultural. Darren, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Lennox. Probably that's not an answer we can provide tonight, but it's probably something we can touch on whenever we bring a report back with a recommendation.
Yeah, and certainly that industrial area has been designated as that since prior to amalgamation. That was the Township of West Yarra-Frax's industrial area, and I don't know how much before amalgamation that was there, but certainly was before then.
Yeah, I would say I agree, and the applicant's documents really highlight that this is really a unique property. So whenever we're reviewing as staff, we'll be highlighting that it's unique, definitely not precedent setting for prime ag land.
Katie, I saw your hand up again for a minute and then it disappeared. Did you have something further you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just I'm curious where the public has access to that knowledge, because as far as it's zoned agriculture, zoned A1. The Home Hardware, I just want to remind that the Home Hardware on the corner was originally a tractor dealership. So over time these properties change, and it's like that crack that's opened in the door, right? It's like, how far do we want this to go? This property, if it is zoned industrial, then what's coming in there next? Yes, this business right now will serve the agricultural community. What's next, I guess, is my question. And how far do we want that to go as a township? And again, how do the farm businesses that are currently in that area remain productive, remain profitable, and can compete and expand?
Okay, and yeah, like I say, I don't think we have the ability to answer that specific question, but I just wanted to give what historical context I knew about the situation there. Any other questions or comments on this application from the applicant or the public? Seeing none, we'll switch to any questions or comments from council. Councilor McCabe?
I really like this idea, and welcome. I'm glad you found the property up here, and I like the land swap as well. And I think this is a good use of ag related use for our farmers up here, and for tractor trailers as well. So thank you.
Counselor Hearn?
Yes. Earlier, well, on the weekend, I reached out to Darren for Chris's planning justification report. And the reason that I did that is I'm still requiring a little bit of clarity that it actually is an agricultural related use. The way I read publication 851, if anyone wants to read it, it's in my desk at council right now. You're welcome to pull it open. I have a hard copy in there. On prime agricultural land, the way that I read it in publication 851 is that that agriculture needs to be the primary use. And I don't really see that with this application. Agricultural land is our largest asset here in Wellington North, and it is a finite resource. So I think that we need to treat this very carefully. And I am concerned. I don't want it to be some sort of slippery slope that we go down. So I'm just looking for a little bit of justification.
Curtis, do you want to tackle that?
Sure. Through you, Mayor Lennox, to Councillor Hearn. So one of the reasons we do have the official plan amendment that's before the county and here for the public meeting tonight is partly due to the land swap that's proposed in terms of designations, and it's not so that, and the fact that it may not be completely considered an agricultural related use. So council will be familiar with, we've had a tractor dealership recently, a year or two ago, that, was reviewed against the criteria and what we refer to as the Green Book, the publication from the province, and sets out tests for identifying an agriculture related use and locating them on prime ag lands. So in this case, so part of our review and comment recommendation to you in the next report will be about that matter. However, it is, as mentioned before, it is part of the rural industrial area that was established, I think, in the 80s, looking back at some of the files. So this also, there's an opportunity through the official plan amendment that can be viewed also as a minor rounding out of that employment land, that larger rural employment area. So I think just to circle back, so may view it as it has a large component that's related to agriculture. However, it may not be directly considered an agriculture related use. But saying that, there's also this is why we have the official plan amendment the applicant has filed to round out that industrial area. So I would summarize, it's probably a little bit of both. So.
Okay. Do you wish to speak to this as well? Yeah, jump into the podium, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just in response to the councillor, in my planning justification report, I did include some of the sort of verbatim. I snipped them right out of the OMAF documents, talking about agricultural related uses. And it means those uses related, farm-related commercial and farm-related industrial uses that are directly related to farm operations in the area, support agriculture, benefit from being in close proximity to farm operations, and provide direct products and or services to farm operations as a primary activity. And I think those criteria are met by the Dakota Truck Services use. It's a repair shop for agricultural machinery. It's compatible with the surrounding lands. It is kind of an infill. That one site is actually like a bit of a hole in the donut. It does support agriculture, and it benefits greatly from being in close proximity. And Dakota's mentioned to me that his customer base is focused in this area, and he expects increasing demand for these types of services.
Any other questions, comments from council? Councilor Rankin?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lennox. I have several sort of questions or concerns, and some have already been answered. I too have a concern about the prime agricultural land being utilized for non-real agricultural produce. However, I was happy to see that there is going to be some land swapped. One of the questions I had was about the property that's going to be severed, but you said it already belonged or is rented by one of your employees. And the other one was the driveway. In one of the sketches, it showed just the one driveway going through for that house, as well as going to the business. I'm just wondering what's going to happen with that when the land is severed.
Yes, ma'am. The concept plan that's included in the planning justification report shows a separate driveway coming in for the repair use, and the existing driveway for that, what will become a separate lot for the house, will be separate from that. So right now there's one driveway. In the future, there will be two.
Two entrances right from 109.
Yes, ma'am.
And also, one of the other things I was concerned about, which was answered as well, and Mr. Rogers said that there will be more than 50% of agricultural use. I was wondering if it was going to end up with more large trucks rather than more agricultural equipment, but it is going to be more agricultural equipment that's going to be worked on.
Yeah, so the agricultural equipment that we work on is like feed trucks and grain haulers and all that stuff that feeds all these farms, feeds chicken farms, pig farms, all that, Floridale and Wallinga bodies and all that kind of stuff. That's the thing that brings the food to the animals. To me anyway, there's no such thing as a real small time farm anymore. Everything has to be brought in with these massive trucks. And the pressure that I was getting from all my customers they used to use tractors, they used to use wagons, but now they have to buy all these transport trucks with these trailers because it's safer. They said that they're getting hit on the road by tractors, or by other cars hitting tractors. So now they're all buying trucks and they have nowhere to get them serviced. So that's basically, I'm dealing with the same farmers I dealt with 15 years ago when they didn't even have a truck. Now they have 5, 10, 15 units that they can't get serviced. That's basically what it is. So they came down to see me down south. They want me to expand my business up north.
Okay, thank you. Also, the land project number 2 that's going to be switched to prime agricultural land, it looks to be part of quite a large area. I'm just wondering, is there any way that project 2 could be expanded to be equal to the amount of land that's going to be going into employment land?
I'm not sure what. I think that the area that's proposed to be swapped is as part of another operation where farming occurs, although it's designated as rural employment lands. And that one section, I think, has a separate zoning than the rest of it. It's still got an old agricultural zoning on it, specialized zoning from back in the day. And so that will be maintained. And when it's redesignated, there'll be a consistent official plan designation and zoning on that one property. In terms of expanding it, I'm not sure if that's a workable thing. The owner of the other property would, have to be willing to sort of concede more land going back to agricultural.
Okay, I thought it may be owned by one person.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I'm just wondering as well, I think my last point is, by doing this, is it going to set a precedent with the province that they can come in and say, okay, we want to make this business or commercial, and you've already set some agricultural land and rezoned it to become employment land. can they do it with other lands as well?
I can't speak for the province. They probably have way more pull than most people, but I think any conversion like that would require justification studies being done by the county planning department, and nothing can just happen on a whim. Any big changes would have to be justified, and if it was, well, depending on where it was, I assume the county would be the body that would sort of drive that bus to sort of understand if it was appropriate to make any of those types of changes.
Yeah, I think when I say recent, in the last few years, the records is pretty clear that the province can redesignate whatever it wishes, whenever it wishes. Be blunt.
Almost, yeah, most of the time.
Yep, certainly.
Sorry, thank you. This is the last. I'm just wondering about the noise study that was done with having diesel trucks there. I know that they're noisier than regular, and with having the goat operation across the road practically, is there going to be any ramifications for the animals that are in that front field?
There was none identified in the noise study, and one of the ideas that we've illustrated on the concept plan are these little berms, landscape berms, which there'd be one sort of parallel to the lot line that will contain the house, and a couple of berms out toward the front of the property that would, help further dampen noise. But there was no comment in the noise study report regarding that being an issue. The conclusion was no concerns.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Hey, Councillor Hearn, did I see you with a hand up again?
You did. I'm not sure that I really have a question. It's maybe more of a statement. And when he explained the agricultural related uses, comparing it to a tractor dealership, I think is honestly, it's apples and oranges. This is kind of a gray area, but I did want to say that the AIA is one of the best AIAs I've ever read. So kudos to that. However, it comes with a bit of a caveat, and I'm going to go kind of on my soapbox, and there's nothing that can be done within this application about it. And it's that we've gone so far down the planning process without actually considering the agricultural impact. I find that a little disturbing, and I really wish that the AIAs that I seen were independent and not proponent driven. And it when you read things, you wonder, is this geared towards a specific outcome? And those are things that concern me. So I kind of feel like sometimes it almost makes our hands tied, that so much money has been spent and we've done so many steps without considering something that is so important to Wellington North. And that's it.
Councillor Burke?
Yes, thank you. Again, most of the comments and questions have already been asked, but I do have concerns about the agricultural component, the Ag 1. Love to see economic development within the township, and also would echo Councillor Hearn's comment that it seems like we are quite far into the process. So I'm wondering that should this application and the site plan not go through, is there a condition that we can put on the conversion of the land that if this development doesn't go through, can it be reverted back to the lands that we see it as it is today? Is my first question.
Okay, I'm looking at the planning folks and see if Darren, you want to tackle that one first?
I can take a high level crack at that. Whenever it comes to the zoning bylaw, we can put a site specific zoning on it. So that way, if there's any later changes to the use, it comes back to this table for consideration.
Okay. So that's not an automatic reversion, but it makes sure that any
That it
further
comes back.
changes.
Okay, so I would like to see that as a condition. And I also question the parking, and I'm sure that there's a planning answer to this question, but if we have 12 to 15 employees, and even if we double that and, with some customer parking spaces, I guess I'm looking to see how we can maybe make the site a little bit smaller. I'm just having a hard time understanding why we need 75 parking spaces.
Curtis?
Yeah, through Mayor Lennox to Councillor Burke. So without doing the math, I'm assuming maybe the 75 parking spaces would have come through the zoning bylaw, that based on the size of building, you would need a specified number of spaces. So that's certainly something that could be looked at through the rezoning and the site plan if there was a desire to reduce the required parking. That could be done to avoid such a large parking area if it's not needed for the site.
Yeah, thank you, Curtis. I'm just wondering how we can make that site smaller and still keep some additional acreage into agriculture. And my last question is with regards to the access onto First Line. I noticed that there was some berming up along the house that's going to be severed and to the neighboring property to the west. And I'm just wondering, it's hard to tell whether there's trees that maybe line that easement, if there would be any berming considered for those neighbors.
Yes, ma'am. The plan that we are working with right now is, as I said, conceptual. So really the intent of that was to provide the general idea of this use and what was going to be going on the site. And obviously you have to show some parking. There's no reason why, it has to be 75. That can be trimmed down if that's desirable, as long as we've got enough for the use. And the easement that goes out to First Line, certainly, some planting or some sort of buffer could be installed. Well, it's a 20-meter easement. So, the carriageway for the trucks wouldn't take up that whole width. There would be some width left over for some form of buffer if that was desirable. But those kinds of things would be definitely addressed at the site plan approval stage. Like all of the sort of detailed design matters would be addressed at the site plan approval stage.
Okay, thank you.
Any further, Councillor Burke?
No, I have nothing further at this time. Thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor McCabe?
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Lennox. Just looking at page 10 of this report, there's 6 points from section 2.2.1 that outlines the criteria for this specific land use, and it checks all these boxes. It's been zoned this way since the 80s, which is over 46 years ago now. I'm not sure what the real push or pushback against this is actually. It's right in line with the PPS. It's right in line with what our farmers need in this area. And yeah, it's a great economic development story for us as well, and for Dakota.
Any other questions from council? I just had one question that hasn't already been covered, and it has to do with the house that's on that property today. I am aware that there has been some land use conflicts between that house and other industrial type businesses around there. And I'm concerned that if it continues to be there, the land use conflicts are going to continue to accelerate, especially if we add a truck service yard next to it. If it were to remain with the property, I would be less concerned about it, but if it's going to be severed off, yeah, the first person that buys it is probably going to be aware of what's there. The next subsequent ones, not so much. And so I'm not sure that I think those berms are adequate to deal with both the existing land use conflicts that are already there and the new ones that would be introduced. So I'd be happy to hear some comments from the applicant in that regard.
I haven't spent much time up there, but I think that the little bit of time that I have spent up there, I think standing on the side of 109 is probably a lot louder than anything that is going to happen behind us. There's the Shills Green in the back. Everything else is out front. I think if anybody that were to ever live there, which I am never intending on selling the property, it's there for just for a rental for my people, because I need to bring people up with me or have people live there, because it's hard to buy a house these days. So split it into a couple units or do whatever just to help some young people along. So that's kind of what the intention of that is.
In terms of the farmland preservation piece of it, without the land swap here, I don't think I would be anywhere near as supportive of this application. It's not a one-for-one land swap, so it's not a slam dunk, but I do think that contributes to making this a very attractive application. But yeah, my concerns around what we can do to mitigate those potential land use conflicts with that residence remaining is an issue that's top of mind for me.
Yeah, I appreciate that for sure.
Just to add on to the part, like the severance component of this, I'm not sure it's a make or break part of the application to actually sever that off. It could be potentially retained as part of the same ownership. I'm not sure if that is.
It is, but it also is to help. Oh, sorry. He's 100% correct, but it's also to help not transfer so much into the M1 as well.
It could retain its existing
that's right.
designation and zoning.
Yes, to help deal with that land issue.
So keep the use, but also keep the property as it is. Like don't sever it.
Right.
That's a possibility.
Well, then any kind of lease arrangement with whoever occupies the house would have to include a recognition of what's happening around it.
Yes.
Often we run into these situations particularly in the rural areas, people, the first generation after something like this is developed, no problem. They understand the reality of the world they're living in. The next cycle is very different. People move into this, I'm going to be moving into this idyllic country environment, and this house in particular, there's emissions that come through the air to that property, there's noise that comes to that property. They will not be nearly so understanding. So trying to make sure that we deal with those land use conflicts when we have the opportunity is really important.
Sure.
Okay.
Through you, and I think what Dakota's saying is, as long as he owns the property, there should be someone that rents it from him that works there, so they'll already know that. So isn't that point? I don't think it really.
No, to me that makes it less risky.
Yeah,
yeah. In my mind,
useful.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. In my mind, it's they're the gatekeeper for sure. Yes.
Councilor Rankin.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lennox. The property that the house is on, how much, and you were concerned about the zoning of it, so it won't be considered employment land. How much land are you considering with that house?
The size of that parcel is about 1.7 hectares. And that includes the house, and part of the property actually extends across the river. Yeah. Conestoga tributary there. Part of the other side, like the west side of the creek or river is also part of the same property. So the lands right around the river are green lands in the county's OP. That designation and zoning will remain in place. And then the lands outside of that around the house would remain as agricultural designation and zoning. We're not changing those.
And I'm just wondering, with the studies that were done, are you planning on having the slope study done?
Yes, ma'am. That would be, again, something that would be looked at the site plan approval stage. That comes from the GRCA comments that I saw. That was one option, do a slope stability study. The other one was set it back to, they provided a specific elevation in their comments. If we set it back to that elevation, we may not have to do that slope stability study, but we will do, all the technical work that's required to support that stormwater pond.
Thank you.
Councilor Hearn, did I see your hand up?
Yes, and going back to the agriculture related uses again, I just wanted to read, quote directly from the guidelines to permitted uses in agricultural areas, publication 851, page 15. Serving farm operations must be a primary function or main activity of the business. As a rule, general purpose commercial and industrial uses should be located outside of prime agricultural areas. And then it goes on to say, in the past, some farm implement dealerships and repair shops have located in prime agricultural areas because of land availability and proximity to customers. Municipalities may have permitted this to achieve efficient development patterns in settlement areas. Given that current PPS policy emphasizes the need for agriculture-related uses to provide direct product or service to farm operations as a primary activity, a farm equipment dealership or farm equipment repair shop might be justified as an agriculture-related use in a prime agricultural area if servicing farm operations in the area is a primary focus of the business and all other agriculture-related criteria are met. However, businesses that sell or repair farm implements along with items catering to a broad customer base such as lawnmowers, snowblowers, other machinery parts, toys, clothing, should be directed to settlement areas, rural lands, or lower priority agricultural lands as discussed in section 3.2. And that's all I wanted to say.
Any other questions or comments from council at this stage? I just have a question as well for staff. So the applicant in this case is expressing a willingness to keep the residents as part of that property. Is that something that could be written into a bylaw as this proceeds?
Yep, absolutely. It can be written into something. What mechanism, we'll have to explore that, but absolutely it can be included.
And to the applicant, is that something that you would be acceptable to you?
Well, to be quite honest, no, sir.
I'm happy with changing it into M1 or industrial as well. Like, it makes no difference to me. I was just trying to lessen the burden of taking the land. That's the end of story. That's the whole.
I'm not requesting it to be M1. I mean, if it's going to be used as residence, it should be not industrial.
Yeah, gotcha.
But just wanted to. I know that there's conflicts that exist today. I just want to make sure that they're not worse.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Any final questions or comments? Right. I think that brings us to the end of our public meeting. So a recommendation here to adjourn the meeting, that the public meeting of January 26th, 2026 be adjourned at 8:21 p.m. Moved by Councilor McCabe, seconded by Councilor Rankin. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Go back to our regular council agenda.
Andrew.
Like I know how to clear a room.
Campbell still. See you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we'll resume our regular meeting of council with the recommendation that Council of Corporation of the Township of Wellington North resume the January 26th, 2026 meeting of council at 8:22 p.m. Moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Rankin. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We have questions on the agenda items. On to adoption of the minutes. Recommendation that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on January 12th, 2026 be adopted as circulated. Moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Burke. Any questions or comments on those minutes? All those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. We have minutes from the public meeting and on January 13th. So we have a recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the minutes of the public meeting held January 13th, 2026. Moved by Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor McCabe. Any questions or comments on those minutes? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. If we have any business arising from previous meetings, so we're on to items for separate discussion. So we have pulled out for separate discussion item 18A, 18B2, 18C1, 18C2, 18C3, 18C4, 18D1, and 21C.
That'll be 18A1. I missed it a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
New numbering system. I'm gonna have to get used to this. Okay. And we have a recommendation to deal with all the ones that haven't been pulled out for further discussion. And that is that all items listed under items for consideration on the January 26th, 2026 council agenda, with the exception of those items identified for separate discussion, be approved and the recommendations therein be adopted. I'm going to move her and seconder for that, please. Councillor Rankin and Councillor Hearn, thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. So
This is the.
okay, so the first item, 18A1, is minutes from the Mount Forest BIA. Recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the minutes of the Mount Forest Business Improvement Area meeting held on January 6th, 2026. Moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Burke. Questions, comments in regard to that? Councillor McCabe?
Thank you. To you, Mayor Lennox, just with the Pizza Hut land agreement, excuse me. Can you remind me what this all entails? I know it was involved very, very briefly, and then it went back to Brooke and to Councillor Burke. So yeah, if I could maybe get a quick update, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'll tackle that one. Brooke?
Through you, Mayor Lennox, to Councillor McCabe. So the BIA Laneway project is something that the Mount Forest BIA has been talking about for a few years. They've been looking at a partnership with the landowners on either side of the laneway to basically improve the aesthetics and the functionality of that laneway, which has been sort of an informal connection to the municipal parking lot in the rear of one of the properties to the main street. And the partnership would include some landscaping to both beautify and again improve that functionality, as well as lighting and some other aesthetic details to make it a more appealing environment. The agreement that we were talking about is really just all the roles and responsibilities of the various players, including the landowners, the township, and the BIA. And I can pass it over to Robin if I've forgotten anything.
Robin, did you have anything to add to that?
Not at this time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Just for clarification, the laneway itself is private property, not township property, correct?
Brooke.
The laneway continues to be the status of the laneway is a little bit ambiguous. We have been told that the township does not own that laneway, but we're not sure who the owner is. So it's something we've decided to take this approach in the interim as the ownership issues are resolved. It would be my recommendation, I think, in the future that the township assume ownership of that laneway officially if we don't already have it, but it's somewhat ambiguous, as I mentioned. So we're kind of just moving forward with the project because we really don't, with all the parties involved, we can come to an agreement in terms of how we handle that whole area. So that's our intent, is to just continue with the partnership piece, and then the township would look at the ownership piece separately.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments on that? Oh, Robin, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Lennox. I just wanted to add what Brooke had mentioned. There is municipal parking in the back, which is, so that laneway is a throughway. So it makes sense for possibly the township to take ownership of it.
Okay, thank you. Other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 18B2, which is the bylaw enforcement year in review. For recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive for information report CBO 2026-003 bylaw enforcement year in review. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Rankin, Councillor McCabe, thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor Rankin?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lennox. I just had a question about the bylaw complaints. The majority of complaints were for weeds and long grass. I was just wondering, were the majority of the complaints for residential or commercial properties? Just out of curiosity.
Through you, Mayor Lennox. Almost all of the complaints across all of the categories are for residential properties.
Any other questions or comments in regard to this report? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 18C1. This is in regard to Saugeen Connects. We have a recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report RCED 2026-007, Saugeen Connects 2025 year in review for information. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor McCabe and Councillor Burke, thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor Rankin?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lennox. I just have a comment only. I met several of these students at the market this summer, the Wellington North Farmers Market, and I'd just like to say that their creativity and initiative it's amazing and very impressive. And it wasn't in the report, and I'm not sure if it was a goal or not, but the support that they had from the families. They had parents there, they had siblings there every week. And they were well supported by the public as well, I think. So I just want to say it's a fantastic program and well worth every dime spent on it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments in regard to that report? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 18C2, which is the Business Retention and Expansion Program. The recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive for information report RCED 2026-003, Downtown and Retail Business Retention and Expansion Program. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Rankin and Councillor Burke, thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor McCabe?
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Lennox. Excuse me. I do like that we used my tax for this funding for it, and the county as well. So wanted to recognize them as well. And the fact that 32% of the businesses here in our township are looking to expand is fantastic to hear. And 86% of the businesses rated their impression of Wellington North as a place to do business as good or excellent. So are we going to be able to put all this information that we gathered and put it into a best possible use? And I'm hoping that we can use this to promote doing business in Wellington North. And I am glad that the 2 action plan workshops, one in Arthur and Mount Forest, will be held shortly, I think. And I like the idea that the next focus is going to be on manufacturing and the agricultural system. So just hoping that this summary is going to go online and put it up through our socials and get the word out about Wellington North is open for business. I don't know who wants to handle that one. Sorry.
I think I'm going to ask Robin.
Through you, Mayor Lennox. Yeah, it is a fantastic program, and I love doing the surveys. I love talking to the businesses. They were very responsive. And as you mentioned, we are going to have a meeting in Arthur and one in Mount Forest. And action items that come out of those meetings, everything will be put online, social media, make sure that everyone knows about what's going on. And the focus also for the manufacturing and agricultural sectors, that's what we're going to be working on this year as well, and looking to get grant funding for that program as well. Yep.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Councillor Rankin?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lennox. The work that has gone into to try and be inclusive to all the buildings or the businesses in the towns, I'm just wondering, the ones that didn't participate in the survey, were they mainly new businesses or ones that are already established?
Through you, Mayor Lennox, Councillor Rankin. The businesses that didn't respond, either it wasn't that they were not new or established or anything like that. Maybe they didn't want to participate in the survey. A letter was hand delivered to every single storefront in the downtowns of Arthur and Mount Forest prior to the surveys being done. It was also online. Unfortunately, you can't always get everybody. The amount of surveys that we did get is very impressive, actually. To get 43 out of those businesses is huge. And we've got a good cross section of retail and services, restaurants. So you can gather a lot of information from those businesses. Yep.
Okay, thank you. And also the employees, I'm sure there are a lot of people in the locality of the businesses that might like full-time as opposed to part-time work. So I'm just wondering, is the majority of the part-time workers that we have, are they part-time due to the type of business that only requires part-time, or due to the fact that the businesses don't have enough business to have a full-time employee?
Through you, Mayor Lennox. Councillor Rankin, I believe the part-time, it is very dependent on what business you are running. And also they're in rural downtowns, a lot of the business owners are the full-time employee. So, and then they hire part-time. Like definitely for the restaurants, it's shift work. So it's not necessarily full time. And there were coming out of the surveys, there are definitely a lot more part time than there are full time, but it didn't actually say that they wanted full time, right? There, a lot of people are happy with the part time. Yeah, more flexibility.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. We'll move on to 18C3. This is the CIP. A recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report RCED 2026-008 on the Village Variety Arthur and Sacred Heart Church Kenilworth Community Improvement Plan applications, and the council approves the facade improvement grant in the amount of $2,500 to Village Variety for the removal and installation of new windows to the upper floor of that building, and further, the council approves a building conversion and improvement grant in the amount of $5,000 to Sacred Heart Church for floor renovations in the church basement. Did I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Rankin and Councillor Burke, thank you. Any questions or comments in regard to this? Councillor Burke?
Yeah, so I always just like to highlight the community improvement plan program. We've had 3 applications so far this year, so it looks like 2026 is shaping up to be a busy year as we've handed out just over $11,500 in funding for improvements. As I say, I'd just like to highlight it. Thank you, Robin, for the report. And it looks like yourself and your team are going to be busy this year.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 18C4, which is the recreational program updates. We have a recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive for information report RCED 2026-004 2025 recreation program updates. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Burke and Councillor McCabe, thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor McCabe?
Thank you. And through you, Mayor Lennox, I was, I guess, astonished at the amount of people that have used the Arthur Pool, over 4,000 last year, and just amazing to me. And it has that whole area, I think, as we had hoped, has become a great activity area for the arena, with all the amenities that are all around it as well. So I just had a question about whether we've started to the process to bringing back our lifeguards and or recruiting for the 2026 season. And I know we have a very active township, and it shows on how the programs are filled, and especially Damascus is, I think, a great result. And I hope this continues. So just wondering if we're already in the process of hiring back lifeguards and summer students for the day camps, etc.
Shelley?
Through you, Mayor Lennox. Yes, actually, we have started that process. So we started just before the Christmas break, hiring, accepting applications for our seasonal staff, so aquatics and day camp. We've had some great applications come in, a nice balance of people that had returning applicants and some new applicants. So we're excited to start looking through those and getting people in place for the summer season.
Good. Thank you. That's great to hear.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Move on to 18D1. This is the fire protection program. We have a recommendation that the Council of the Township of Wellington North receive report Fire 2026-001 Fire Protection Grant Program, and the Council approve the application submitted by the Fire Service Management Team for the Fire Protection Grant Program and allow staff to enter into a transfer payment agreement with the province to receive the funds, and further that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the bylaw to enter into the agreement. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor McCabe and Councillor Hearn, thank you. questions, comments? Councillor McCabe?
Thank you, Mayor, and through you. I guess this is for Chief Harrell. Hopefully he's on.
He's on.
Okay, good. Sorry, I just can't see you. It's great that we get these grants. And what have we been using them for, and what will we be using them for?
Through you, Mayor Lennox, and great
Okay.
question, Councilor McCabe. These grants actually come with a stipulation that they use for cancer prevention programs. They were put in place by the Fire Marshal's office and the province because of the number of cancer claims that were coming into WSIB in the province. So they put this in to help us do some preventative measures. So this is the third year of the grant, and we're putting in different programs. So we're buying some extra gear so that when they come back, they have to wash their gear right away. We've bought extra gear with it. We've bought some what are called decontamination packs to help us with decontamination of the scene. And for this one as well, this is the one we're going to do a small renovation at the Mount Forest station, just so we can get some one shower put in there, so that when they come back from a scene, they're able to shower. It won't change the viability of the building or anything, that, and it'll be good for future use, but it will give us the ability to have one shower so that when the firefighters come back, they can wash their gear and they can wash themselves, I guess.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you, Chief.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to, I think we're done with items for consideration. So any notice of motion this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to community group meeting report. Does anybody have anything they'd like to report on? Councillor McCabe.
Thank you, Mayor Lennox, and through you. I have some actual final numbers from the Roma conference that was last weekend, and I've had to adjust them from what I had reported on in our last meeting. There was actually just a little over 2,300 delegates this year, and I had reported that there was going to be about little over 2,000. So that was actually up 20% more than last year. There was 316 municipalities represented at the entire weekend of the conference. So that's 70% of all the municipalities in Ontario, which is a great showing. And the delegations that were requested, or sorry, that were, approved, there was 651 delegations between 250 municipalities and 25 ministries. And usually that's a pretty good fair weather warning of people aren't happy or looking for answers. So it was very well attended. I think everything went off pretty well without a hitch, and hopefully we'll see you guys there next year as well.
Yeah, you better mention our CAO's cameo at the
I
conference.
was going to let you, so.
Just a shout out to our CAO, Brooke, for your participation in the panel discussion. It was great to that you were able to do that.
There's a lot of compliments on that as well, Brooke. So very well done.
Okay, any other community updates anyone wants to provide? Councillor Hearn?
Just wanted to update on the GRCA meeting last week. John Challoner and Sean Waters were reelected as the chair and vice chair, respectively. That's all I wanted to report on at this point in time.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think we're ready to move on to bylaws. And which one is the 1-7? Right. So we wanted some number 7-2026 was pulled out for separate discussion. So I have a recommendation here. So I'll deal with the others first, and then we'll deal with number 7. I have a recommendation here that bylaw number 005-2026, 006-2026 be read and passed. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor McCabe and Councillor Rankin, thank you. Any questions or comments on those?
Thank you. Through your Mayor Lennox, I just had one question. If the land is going to be
7? The deeming bylaw? Your question?
The C bylaw, the third
Number
one,
7, the deeming bylaw. Is that the
the one that has the subdivision,
question for it?
the subdivision one?
Yeah, we're not dealing with that bylaw just
Oh,
yet.
sorry.
That's okay. I want to get that tonight's meeting too. Any other questions or comments with regard to 005 and 006? Councillor Burke.
Yeah, so even though I didn't pull it, I'm still opposed to the fees and charges that we are proposing for the Mount Forest Cemetery.
Okay. Have we got a mover and a seconder for this already? Okay. All right. Okay. I think we'll just deal with those two. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. And we'll go back and deal with the bylaw 007. A recommendation that bylaw number 007-2026 be read and passed. Moved by Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor McCabe. Questions, Councillor Rankin?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lennox. I was just wondering, it didn't mention, so this land that was zoned to be a subdivision is now being changed. I'm just wondering where the land was or is.
Through you, Mayor Lennox. So this bylaw is the result of the zoning amendment application we dealt with at 345 Durham Street late last year. The remaining lands, as you can see on your screen here, are intended to merge with the lands and byland subdivision. So at the next meeting, we're going to see a part lot control application to create the 4 residential lots fronting on Durham Street. So in order for the retained lands to merge with the lot on byland subdivision, that 119 Byland Drive needs to be removed from that draft plan of subdivision in order for those to merge without having to go through a separate lot line adjustment application. So
this is to take that out of the plan of subdivision on byland in order to facilitate this addition.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, if it's being taken out of subdivision, what is it then going to become?
It will remain essentially the same, just the legal description will change. So it won't be a lot in that subdivision. It'll be just a residential lot within the urban boundary.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Cultural moment.
The Wellington North Cultural Roundtable presents A Cultural Moment. Father B.J. O'Connell, the man buried beneath his church. One of the most unusual burials in Mount Forest is that of the beloved Catholic priest, Father B.J. O'Connell. Born on February 2, 1844 in Cork, Ireland, Father O'Connell served as priest at St. Mary's during 2 separate periods, from 1876 to 1886, and again from 1892 until his death in 1908 at the age of 64. On the morning of February 2, 1908, he had planned to say an early Mass. When he did not appear at his usual time, his housekeeper, Miss Crow, went to check on him. He was discovered lying peacefully in bed, hands folded across his chest, with every indication that he had passed away quietly and without pain. A doctor later confirmed the cause of death as a stroke. The Mount Forest Confederate published the following account in its February 6, 1908 edition written by Mary Fian. He retired about 10 o'clock in his usual good health, and not being about in the morning, Miss Crow, the housekeeper, went to call him, but found the cold remains of the devoted priest hushed in death. The shock to her and to his parishioners, who gathered as they were wont to do for the last 30 years that Sunday morning to assist at divine service, listen to his wise counsel, and participate in his blessing, can only be fancied. Not an aged man, but being 64, and from outward appearances apparently well preserved, he gave promise of an active, useful life. That February, Mount Forest was struck by a prolonged winter storm during the days leading up to his funeral. With the weather making burial impossible, it was decided that Father O'Connell would be laid to rest beneath the church he had served so faithfully. A section of the floor was cut open so that his casket could be lowered into the small crawl space below. Today, his tombstone hangs on a wall inside St. Mary's Catholic Church, a lasting reminder of his life and service.
Okay. And we think the weather's bad right now. I don't have the list of upcoming meetings, notices, and announcements in front of me, but I know you have that in your agenda. I'll ask you to refer to that. And with that, we'll move to adjournment. A recommendation here that the regular council meeting of January 26th, 2026 be adjourned at 8:52 p.m. Moved.
Sorry, we want the confirming bylaw.
Did I jump over that?
Yes, no, yeah.
Okay. Confirming bylaw, sorry about that. The recommendation that bylaw number 008-2026 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North at its regular council meeting on January 26th, 2026 be read and passed. Mover and a seconder, Councillor McCabe and Councillor Rankin, thank you. All those in favor? It's carried. And on to adjournment. The recommendation again that the regular council meeting of January 26th, 2026 be adjourned at 8:53 p.m. Moved by Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Burke. All those in favor? That's carried. Thanks, everybody.